All right, so here we have the bottom of a Tacoma seat, but they're all the same thing. So, you know, you pull up on this, and it allows it to slide. So you've got this piece here, which is attached to the seat cushion, and then you have this piece here, which bolts to the floor. So what you need to do is grind or drill these out so that you can remove the feet. And then these rails, once you take the feet off both of them, these rails are magically wide enough on the RX-8 seats to drop into, and that's going to magically fit inside these two rails. Now, where these rails came from, these rails, you had to cut off the bottom of the SC seat, and you can't damage them either. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. But once you get these rails off the bottom of your SC seat, because this is where they bolt to the floor, the RX-8 seat, where you cut off the feet, is going to magically be the same width and fit inside of here, inside these channels. I'll go show you what that looks like on mine. We'll go to the car now. So here we have the same thing. We have the SC bottom rails, and you can see right here that this is the RX-8 seat bottom rails, the frame rails that bolt to the frame of the car, and then this rail bolts to the seat. So this slides inside of this. And what we're going to do is we cut the feet off of this rail and we weld them to the inside of the SC300 rail. And what even happens is really cool is the RX-8 seats have this this rod that shoots through, right? And that'll help you locate your seat inside the SC300 rails. So what you can do is, if you're shorter, you'll move this, you know, one notch forward, and if you're really tall, you move it one notch back. Now I'm 6 feet with shoes on, and having shoes counts in this case, because I wouldn't really want the SC seat, I wouldn't want this seat any lower if I was any shorter. So if you're probably shorter than 5'10", you're gonna want to weld like a flat piece across the open channel and then weld the RX-8 seat to that flat piece. All right, what else? If you're too short, you need the extra height, and you'll move this to the first one to put the initial seat position more forward. And one thing you have to do is see how this is chamfered, like it's not square. You got to cut this so you have access to the bolt hole. Otherwise you won't be able to get a wrench or anything on there. It's not so much a problem on this back right one, because you know it's got two in there. They're not below this. But on the front ones, you've got to cut it so you can get a socket right there. So we'll go back to the SC bottom rails in a minute. Yep, so the RX-8 is going to fit right down in there and be the perfect width to bolt in. And when I'm talking about this plate, if you're too short, and you can test this, to get you something like this, and you'll just see this one's a bit small, but you could weld those together. That's a really good seam right there to weld. And you know, it fits in there really nice. This is just a piece of stock I got from Lowe's, and that'd give you your extra height. And then once it's welded, you can drill through that hole to give you, so that rod on the RX-8 seat will go through it. And if you don't have a welder, this would be a really good job to use one of those $100 stick welders on from Harbor Freight or from Walmart. The other thing you'll have to do is you'll have to swap over your buckle, but that's easy, just that one bolt. And I didn't even plug mine back in, and I can't remember if I get a seatbelt warning or not. I guess not. One thing I'd be interested in is seeing if I could swap out this foam, the cloth interior, the cloth covering, for the leather one. You'd think like the padding would be the same, and I could just unbolt here, bolt in the leather one, and then have leather seats, but I still want the lightweight manual adjustment rails. I like the lighter rails, and how often do you adjust your seats? You need electric anyway. Okay, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will answer you. Thanks for watching this. How to get these off of your existing SC seat. So you got to get these off, and you can't destroy this. You can't cut into it. So what you have to do is, and when you're looking at it, it'll be looking like this. There's some bolts here, or maybe one bolt here. Take that out. There's this long screw rod that goes through here, and there'll be a some kind of capture device for that screw. You gotta basically break that out. You gotta get this screw out, or give yourself enough room so that this will slide freely on the bottom of the seat. Then what you do is you slide it as far as you can. All right, and it's almost like, it almost looks like this, right? But you know, they're both inside of it. So you slide it like this. You got to take a grinding wheel, and you got to cut about a slot bigger than that. You got to cut a slot about this big in there, in the part of the rail that's attached to the seat, not the rail that's attached to the frame. And then there's this little, it's kind of like it's this thing that floats in there, and its job, it floats between here and here, so this thing can't slide off. So you got to cut a groove into here so that roller thing that rolls right here will drop into that groove, and then that will let you slide it off. I think you have to do it for both sides, and you got to work at it, and that's the whole pain. That's the worst part of the whole job, is getting these off. But you know, you can ruin anything you want except these on that bottom of that seat.